take a look at what it's doing there. And here it is, actually.
Yeah, that sounds great. This storm is pretty nasty in the San Marcos area. We're seeing a lot of frequent lightning, heavy rain, and it looks like from this new weather camera that we've got on KXAN.com, look at that bounce.
Wow.
Just saw the camera moving around there. We have had some reports in this area, as we discussed, of 50-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts in San Marcos. Look at this. Our new camera, I hope it doesn't get taken out tonight, showing the intensity of this storm south of Austin. Look at this, the new West Shore home camera down there, really rocking and rolling. I have not seen this camera move like this in a storm. You can see somebody out there on the road, actually a fair amount of people on the road. You do not want to be driving right now in a severe thunderstorm. It can cause traffic lights to go out suddenly. It can bring branches down into the roadway, and it can cause accidents for a number of reasons, mainly due to visibility, due to the rain and wind. And you can imagine that as we look toward the Texas State campus, what driving in this would be like. Current wind gusts still at 52 miles per hour as of the latest report in San Marcos, 45 mile per hour gusts in Lockhart. This is serious, and it's still very windy behind the front line of storms, 26, 32 miles per hour gusts. These are wind advisory criteria winds that continue in the Hill Country and Austin until midnight. So remember, as we've told you for the past couple days, even after the storms clear, it will be a very windy night with west to east winds ripping. Here's the Austonian weather cam, 57 degrees. You saw some lightning there, although most of that cluster of lightning is now moving the other direction out toward eastern Travis County. The front line of this wind blast is moving now into Bastrop, it looks like. A new severe thunderstorm warning just flashing on the map for San Marcos. That could be because of the strong wind gusts that we were just showing you. The leading edge of that concerning area of wind damage, though, is pushing into Caldwell County here. Looks like that new severe thunderstorm warning until 8:45 for Bexar, Comal, and Hayes counties. A couple of those, of course, south of our viewing area. As we move this a little eastward, our friends in Lee, Fayette counties, haven't forgotten about you guys. You guys are next in line to get this. As Nick was showing you on the broader scale track, we will be impacted by this over the next 1 to 2 hours. There's the strong wind gust moving through Bastrop down 290 into Lee County. How about the tornado warning up north? This is our Austin Energy outage map. Still about 1,461 people without power. If you don't have power, you can always watch us or stream us on a battery-powered device like your laptop or your KXAN app. We always stream our live newscast there. Here it is. This looks like a good sign to me, Nick. We're seeing the storm itself breaking up just a little bit west of Cameron, west of Highway 77 in Rockdale. The leading edge of this, though, no doubt still has some really powerful winds.
Yeah, the National Weather Service office out of Dallas that is in charge of the Milam County warning, they were hinting at what we've been just talking about, how the leading edge of the strongest winds is starting to outpace the storm. And that actually reduces the risk of rotation when the storm winds are lagging like that, or when the winds are well ahead of the storm, I should say. So it means that the rotational risk starts to go down, and they're less concerned now about a tornado risk there, but they are still going to maintain the tornado warning for now. We still have a little bit of time before that tornado warning does wrap up, though, so it's certainly not the time that we would say you're in the clear. We've got until 8:30. That's another 13 minutes for this tornado warning for Milam County, but it is racing through that tornado warning box. Not going to be long until it X's that box. Let me put a track on the leading edge here of at least the rain and the storms and the rotational threat. And you can see some of the towns and cities that at least the rain would begin for you, but probably the wind begins a few minutes earlier. So places like Hanover at 8:21, and then you can see Marvin there at 8:28, Calvert at 8:30, David.
And since we have such great radar coverage of the winds in Milam County, let's update folks on that as well. Here we are in Cameron. You can see the cluster of lightning, this red blob, especially some of these lighter colors near Cameron. These are the strongest thunderstorm winds that we've got in the viewing area right now. That initial blast is moving down 190, down 79, east of Rockdale and east of Cameron. Cameron's still getting some winds, no doubt, but west of that area, things are starting to improve a bit. It looks like Maysfield, Baileyville, if you guys are not getting them yet, you will get any moment some really loud, disruptive winds outside of your house. blowing from west to east. If you're still well ahead of this line in extreme eastern Milam County or east of our viewing area, picking up our signal, you want to go ahead and take your tornado-like precautions right now. Stay away from outside walls and windows, especially on the west side of your house. When this wind blast arrives, it will be capable of blowing out windows and bringing down tree limbs that could cause some damage to your house or to your vehicle that's parked outside. So far, and I suspect we're going to get more of these reports, we did have a report from a woman in Bertram of a carport that was uprooted, if you will, and flipped down out of her property. She's hoping that her animals are okay. We certainly hope so as well. I would not be surprised at all to have more wind damage reports as this wraps up here in the next couple of hours. In the meantime, if you're in this tornado warning, here's a reminder of your precautions. In Milam County, interior room on the lowest floor of your home. Cover yourself with a mattress, pillows, blankets, maybe even a bicycle helmet. Anything can help keep you safe if the worst were to happen. And again, we do not want you in a mobile home. We want you to leave those for sturdier structure. Mobile homes are actually one of the most dangerous places to be because they are not built to withstand winds like we're detecting right now. Here we are down in Rockdale, not in the tornado warning, but you guys are getting some serious winds. There's a pretty good secondary storm, Nick, to the southwest of Rockdale. It looks like this is going to be moving into the San Gabriel and Rockdale shortly. Looks like we've got another little bow echo here right there. Now, as Nick discussed, the initial wind blast is out ahead of it. It's right here. So this is cutting off any inflow that could help create a tornado. That's why on this second blast, moving through Thorndale and up towards San Gabriel any moment, I'm not as worried about a tornado, but we could certainly see more damaging straight line winds. And ultimately, who cares if it's a 90-mile-per-hour wind from a tornado versus a damaging thunderstorm wind gust? It doesn't matter. It's still going to cause the same amount of damage and needs to be taken as seriously. Nick, thank you for tracking out this part of the storm heading toward these communities at the times listed, including Rockdale here in just a couple of minutes. Any new updates from our friends up the road in Dallas on this Milam County storm?
Nothing new from them. We've got 9 minutes now until the Milam County tornado warning is due to expire. We talked about Austin Energy power outages here just a few minutes ago. Austin Energy, of course, does not serve all of KXAN's viewing area, but so several providers do. I did want to show you the Encore outage map. Now, Encore does not just serve Central Texas either, but statewide, they've got 285,000 customers affected by power outages. I did some math. There's about 2,000 in Williamson County and about 800 in Travis County. So a tiny portion of massive outages that Encore is dealing with statewide, largely due to the storms that were north of us that, believe it or not, were actually in many ways stronger. They had much more in the way of tornado concerns and more 80-mile-per-hour plus wind damage concerns than what we had. But I did want to touch base on some of the outages that other providers were dealing with, David.
Thank you, Nick, for that update. So it sounds like about 4,000 customers currently in our area of Central Texas without power between the different providers like Austin Energy, Encore, etc. We still have this big, solid block of severe thunderstorm warnings that is including Austin, including San Marcos, Lockhart, Bastrop, Lee County, parts of Fayette County. I think these may be expanded, although we'll have to monitor the trends in these storms. They certainly still pack a wallop, but it looks like they're starting to break up and become a little bit more spotty, so we're not quite sure if LaGrange, you will be included in a new warning yet or not. Stay with us to find that out. But back here downtown Austin, let's update folks real quick. Where the majority of our population is clumped. It looks like the worst of it is now moving out of Travis County. We still no doubt have breezy winds, still dangerous lightning from Mustang Ridge, Coda, Elroy, up the road to 290, Manor. But look at this, downtown, just some sprinkles in this green color. Bee Cave, Lake Travis, Windy Point, Spicewood, not much rain left with this. You can see as we look westward from our downtown Austonian weather cam, 720 feet above the ground, you can see that it's still a rainy night, but not quite as intense as it is out in eastern Travis County. This is 15 miles to the southeast in Elroy at the Coda track, where we showed you there is still some lightning and still some heavier rain clustered. Down on the southern storms, we covered Austin. Let's get back to San Marcos, Caldwell, Hayes counties. Remember, we were talking about 50-plus mile-per-hour winds from this cell right there in Lockhart. Looks like Lockhart now, 183 and the toll road there, getting the worst of it that you will see tonight. Lightning, heavy rain, damaging thunderstorm winds. You guys are included in the severe thunderstorm warning. The worst of that cell is north of Luling. It's not heading your way, but remember in Luling, we've got more cells that are back building from San Antonio, New Braunfels to San Marcos. These will eventually affect you. We've had some questions on Facebook tonight. Is it going to miss Kyle? Is it going to miss Smithville? Is it going to miss fill in the blank? The answer is no. Everybody, 100% of us getting impacted at some point by these storms. Hill Country, your worst impact is over. Metro, our worst impact is waning as we speak. But eastern counties, the worst of these is still to come for you guys. Nick?
Yeah, and got some positive news from the National Weather Service from Dallas. They plan, as things stand, that in 6 minutes they will be wrapping up that tornado warning for Milam County. They're not going to cancel it early. They're going to let it ride until it's due to expire at 8:30 for Milam County, but they're not seeing any signs that they would need to extend it.
That's great news. So control room, I hope you heard that. In about 5-6 minutes, it looks like we can send folks back to their regular programming. We will let you know at home, of course, if it's canceled early or extended. We do want to stay with our friends up in Milam County to keep everybody safe through the duration of this warning, and I'm sure you can understand why. Here's the red area showing the tornado-warned storm. Not in Rockdale, although you're getting a pretty good storm arriving on your doorstep, but out toward Branchville. This is where the worst of that first initial wind gust and the tornado threat is heading. I wonder what's going out toward Gauze. Okay, here's the velocity. We're not seeing that distinct Christmas pairing of green right next to red. This is still more indicative of a big, damaging thunderstorm wind gust, big straight line wind. All the same color, like you see here, just means all the wind is heading in the same direction as opposed to a tornadic circulation. But as we mentioned, we should still take our tornado precautions, whether it's damaging wind gusts or a tornado indeed. These are powerful winds that are capable of causing damage. Nick querying some of these up to 65 miles an hour. 65 miles an hour is impossible to stand up in, so this is not wind that you want to mess around with. We do need you and all of your indoor animals, of course, indoors through the duration of this storm. Nick?
Yeah, so National Weather Service just reiterated in a more formal way that they're going to expire that tornado warning at 8:30. I'm not seeing for sure that they have expired it early. Usually they use the term cancel instead of expire when they plan on ending it early. So we've got another 3.5 minutes here that we're going to keep an eye on, just the potential that it decides to regenerate somewhat. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning, though, just coming in. So we want to make sure we update you on that in case it includes parts of our area. And as we widen the view out, it looks like it would be for areas east of the KXAN viewing area. So far, so good as far as the lack of any additional strengthening anywhere else. We're going to continue to watch whether other pieces, especially farther south, especially closer to you in Caldwell County, where we're seeing at least some slightly heavier downpours and a little bit more organization over you in Lockhart right now, whether there's any sort of kinks that show up in the radar there that would indicate some potential rotation. As David hinted on, there is some nasty weather coming our way from the San Antonio area too that we're going to have to watch out for as well. That particular storm likely to near New Braunfels there and then head off to the north and east, and that would also head in toward portions of southern Hayes and Caldwell County. I'm talking about this one down here that I'll give a general track with the arrows that's probably going to move northeastward and meet up with that other line of severe weather, David.
It is, and you know, in comparison, I mean, even the folks at home can tell. Look at this storm east of San Antonio. Compare it to what's moving through Austin, Bastrop, and Caldwell counties. It's just not quite as intense here. As Nick mentioned, though, this is kind of on the trajectory to head into Caldwell and Bastrop counties, though. So, of course, we'll be the first to let you know if anything does worsen as that moves our way. But as it stands right now, just for your planning purposes at home as well, we're going to send you back to your regularly scheduled programming in just a minute and a half or so as this Milam County warning is set to expire. The rest of us under these severe thunderstorm warnings, we still need to take our precautions, including staying away from windows, staying indoors. I'm not sure you knew this, but you're actually not supposed to shower or use a corded telephone if you still have one of those, because if lightning were to strike your property or nearby, that can actually conduct electricity to you and electrocute you, even if you're inside of your own home. So as long as you're avoiding doing those couple of things in your home, you are otherwise safe inside. We also don't want you driving around anywhere where these storms are active. We don't need to get in an accident because of slippery roads or because of damaging winds, as we have discussed. The worst of it, though, certainly passing east of Austin, although we could have a couple more of these little lingering showers continue for an hour or two on and off. The gusty west winds are far from over, even behind the rain. But this it continues to be good news as that Milam County storm looks like it's on its way out. Nick, pulling up now our high-resolution projection of this line through the next couple of hours. And look how well that showed that, Nick. The line breaking up as it moves east of I-35. Here's the 9 p.m. projection, which is mirroring reality pretty well. Take it to 10 p.m., an hour further in the future, and you can see that initial wind gust and the tornado threat moving east of us entirely, although this new data is suggesting that maybe some of those San Antonio storms could continue the thunderstorm activity, hopefully not severe, in our eastern counties until 10:30. By 11 midnight, this is all over with. You're not going to see a single cloud in the sky tomorrow, Saturday, or Sunday, with perfect weather in the forecast for the first weekend of March. As we are 5 seconds away from 8:30, I'll give you back to meteorologist Nick Bannon, watching for the latest news from the Weather Service in Milam County.
Yeah, before we let you go, I do want to let you know we did just get some damage reports from Milam County in Cameron. Tree damage at Highway 77. And oak trees snapped and multiple 6-inch limbs broke along Highway 77. As we gather more information about damage and power outages, we'll be bringing that to you over on the CW Austin with our newscast that begins in just 30 minutes at 9. Of course, we'll have an update here on KXAN at 10. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.